Hello, thank you for joining us. We are going to wait probably 1 to 2 more minutes as people kind of trickle in, and then we will get started.
Hey, Anna, do you mind updating your name?
Do I not look like an Anna?
Not really Anna Moore today.
All right, let's see. I'll go ahead and be Katie.
Don't you want to be the legendary Katie?
Yeah. Oh, we have a Katie in attendance.
Yeah.
The more Katies, the better, I feel.
Yeah.
Okay, people are just kind of trickling in, so probably 1.5 minutes, and then we'll get going. I noticed in all of my preferred contractors and realtors, it's overwhelmingly, even loan officers. I pretty much only work with Ryans and Katie's. I didn't plan it, but makes it easy.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. All right. I think kind of load down. I think we're good to go. You think so?
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Katie Smith, and I am a homeownership counselor out of Adair's Cresswell office. So I'm in Oregon. I cover kind of the Eugene, Springfield area, and then all the way over to the coast and south down the coastline. And my co-host, Joe, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hello and good afternoon. Joe Zamko, Central Oregon branch, and we cover quite a huge radius. If you look on our website and take a look at locations and build zones, we're covering a lot of more territory than we have in the past. So good news is for you, if you've got property in some of those outlying areas and want to see what we can do, there's some great opportunity to help and serve you. So
Perfect. Well, Joe and I today are showing off the Josephine plan. We're going to start as usual by looking at on the website, looking at the standard plan. Joe's going to talk about some cool things you can do on our website. And then a tiny change. I've been asked very kindly by some of our regular viewers if I could just let the video play through the first time without pausing it, and then run it a second time and do the regular pauses to explain what you're seeing. And for those of you that watch all of these, there's a good chance that you likely know everything that I'm going to pause to say anyway. So this makes perfect sense to me. So we'll kind of start standard. We'll play the video through with just some overview talk, and then we'll do another run through where we're pausing and explaining everything that we're seeing, what you could have done, what these customers showed us to do. And then we'll go through the 6 steps between you and basically homeownership before we wrap up. So before I start, as always, Joe loves to field your questions. So please use that Q&A function. If you see anything, if you hear anything that you want more information on, he's going to be monitoring that Q&A group. And we'll just try to pause periodically and make sure your questions are all answered and up to date. All right, so the house we're looking at, the Josephine plan. So Joe, if you wouldn't mind explaining all the cool things that you can do on our website, I would really appreciate it.
yeah, so I think really where I like to start is, as you can see the Josephine plan here, I like to, have you be able to look at all the different exterior elevations, which we have launched some new ones. We've revamped what we have done in the past to give you more idea of what's more relevant today. We've had a lot more requests for farmhouse exterior elevations for more of our homes. Riata, which is, I think, awesome, depending on the area you live in. It's not for everybody, or that style is not for everybody, but I think it's absolutely an awesome floor plan and beautiful the way it looks as far as style and exterior facade. You'll notice right there on the front of the page, right to the right of the Riata plan, it's got a little box right there with the square, like a chat button there. If Katie clicks on that right there, what will end up happening is one of our lovely folks through our online department are ready to help right away. So if she were to type in a message, they would kind of ask some additional questions. discover what build zone you're planning on building a home in. Do you own property? And they schedule you with somebody like Katie or myself to discover more of what we can do, what we can offer you, and how we can help and serve you. I like the resources up top, Katie. When you click on resources, obviously there's blogs for new floor plans, referral programs, which is a huge hit. So if you're a realtor and you've got a client that's looking to build an Adair home or want to learn more, that's a good spot right there. Or say, for example, you're a super satisfied Adair Homes customer that has built a home, which both Katie and myself have. You would be delighted to know that we pay you $2,500 for the referral if it does lead to a sale and we do build a home for a client. So I think that's great. I think home planning up top right there is great as well. What to expect, when it comes to timelines, how to find land, Adair Site Services, the design, how we put it all together. And I think just utilizing some of those, there are some great photos, tools, and things like that. I love why Adair. We don't really talk about that specifically, but I think I love the why Adair because of how we give back to the community. We're not one of those companies that like, woo, this is what we do, this is how we give back. And I think that kind of says a lot about our leadership here at Adair Homes, where we built 3 homes complimentary at no cost with some of the fires that occurred, and I think that's just speaks volumes of our company and the fact we've been around since '69, and the fact that we truly care about the communities we build in, and we try to execute with the top level at every branch, at every location, at every customer's build. So I think that covers the website pretty well there, Katie. I'm going to kick it back to you so we can go over the next items on the list.
Love it. Okay. All right. So we are looking at the exterior options for the Josephine. And like Joe said, our website has recently had a total revamp. All of our floor plans have kind of been brought up to speed as far as what was selling, what wasn't, and just keeping everything moving. So the plan we're looking at today is actually what we call the Impressions exterior, which is no longer available as the standard option. However, if it's something you love, it's still available via custom option. And I'll give you a quick peek at what that looks like. So you'll notice with the Impressions, you have this really high hip roof. So if this is something you like, if it's something an HOA is requiring, it's absolutely still an option. And on that same note, when you're looking at these exteriors, if you're thinking, okay, you know what, I love farmhouse, but I like the cedar shake from the Craftsman exterior, you can incorporate those changes into any of the exteriors. These are kind of a starting point to get your imagination going, that you can modify and change based on your needs, your likes, your vision. We are going to look at floor plan here, standard floor plan. This one is a standard 3-car garage. So you've got your 16-foot overhead door and then an 8-foot overhead door in the third bay. You've got a nice covered porch. You come in through the entry, you've got your formal dining room, massive great room, nook, kitchen space. So really large common space. Off to the left wing here, we have 2 bedrooms, a utility room that accesses the garage, and then a guest bathroom. And off to the right, we have a den and a half bath, and then the primary suite with a large primary bath and a walk-in closet. One of the cool things about the house that we're showing today is they did really minimal upgrades. So you'll be able to see the structure as it was originally drawn. One thing that they did do is, rather than keeping this as a formal dining room, they closed off one of the walls and added French doors so that it's more of an office space. Anything else to note about this plan, Joe? Anything that you love about it or you frequently do with it?
I think one of the things that's super popular about this plan, obviously you've got the primary suite on the opposite side of the bedrooms, which is what a lot of our clients are looking at. The den is on the same side as the primary suite. I've seen people turn that into a bonus room. And then, like you mentioned, the dining room, formal dining rooms are hit and miss for our clients. So having that option to turn that into an actual office, good size, 14 by 12, 15 by 11 for a den. I mean, so if you look kind of like actually at dimensions of things, like there's some pretty solid dimensions when it comes to that. I think there's tons of storage in this home, which is great. So you'll look down the hallway where the bed 2, bed 3 is. You've got those 2 linen closets that are in the hallway right there, which is fantastic. And I love how like somebody can be washing their hands and then somebody can be using the bathroom and bath too, you know, so it's kind of nicely separated out there. Huge utility room. So yeah, I really think as far as from a layout perspective, I mean, this one really hits a lot of checks a lot of boxes for our clients.
Agreed. Really smart design. And I will say, not to put you on the spot, but frequently when we have plans that don't have a walk-in pantry, that is a frequent complaint that I hear from customers. And so do you have an idea on this one, how you would incorporate a walk-in pantry if someone requested it?
Yeah, you know, actually on this one, we've relocated the fridge to the other wall where the pantry is, put a door right there, moved that water heater, and then literally taken up space of the garage.
Perfect.
You know, because if you look at it, it's a 24-foot deep garage, which really most garages are at 20 by 20 as far as standard hypothetical garage sizes. So that's a pretty nice opportunity to get a pantry dialed in right there. So
That's perfect. I love that. And then too, if you did have an oversized vehicle and you wanted that garage space, you can also extend the garage. So you could keep
absolutely,
in depth
yeah,
with your walk-in pantry. Love it. One other thing these customers did, you're going to see in the video, they took our patio cover and extended it, which patio covers, of course, sky's the limit. You can request the exact dimensions you want. We always give you our suggested look or sizing, but you can expand on it just again based on what you need. So I think we're ready for the video.
let's roll it.
And we will, like I said, I'm going to let it play through. I'll give you kind of minimal, we'll give you talking points as it's playing. And then on the next run, we'll pause it more frequently and tell you everything we can think of because we love to talk. So this is an older spec. This is what we call our 05 spec. So now with Adair, as a standard, we are going to include interior and exterior paint, of course. But we're also doing great stuff during the build. We're doing cleanup and dry out and basically just making it sure so that there's nothing you have to do. No participation required from you during the project itself. You just get to show up and watch the movie build. I will say too, the photography we used on this project had more of an artistic view than some of our other videos. So you'll see kind of flashes in and out. I'll try to explain where he's going if there's ever confusion. They've got standard ceiling height in here. And it looks good, Joe, because it's such a big room.
Yeah, I mean, it's super open. I think that's what you'll appreciate in a lot of our plans. They like to combine the great room dining kitchen, kind of have everything like our Oswego plans and some of the other ones that have been designed. They're purposefully designed that way because we're finding a lot more people are spending a lot more time together in those main areas. And I think hypothetically, we've seen customers upgrade those locations more so than primary bath and some other areas in the home, especially trying to keep budget in mind, right? With interest rates a little bit higher right now, who knows what the future of interest rates look like? So people are kind of trying to figure out like, hey, let's get it kind of structured the way you want it. Hey, some of the upgrades can come later. And even like some of the standard stuff that we do, I mean, by golly, like the drywall wrap windows look great. I mean, I have people that think those look nice. I mean, I think they look great.
Clean.
I think the simpler a lot of things look, you know, it doesn't draw too much attention to certain spots. Everything just kind of flows, especially with this plan. And I think that's what you'll appreciate with it.
Agreed. Yeah, kind of lets you use your decor as more of a focal point than the home itself. But of course, for those people that want their fireplace or their massive wall of windows to be the focal point.
Can you pause it, Katie, right there?
Yeah,
Back it up just a tad.
okay.
So like right there in the corner, Katie, in that nook space.
Over here.
Yep. Yeah, I've had a lot of people do that built-in butler's pantry / nook setup in there with the additional sink and then a couple openings for beverage sinks. Just kind of a nice little added area for cabinetry space if you didn't want to spend the money on, button out a pantry and creating that additional space. So it does allow for additional cabinets and things of that nature. So it is pretty nice set up that way. We have had customers do cabinets on the other side of the island as well. So obviously not super accessible, if you have chairs set up there, but sometimes people like to have that for extra storage as well.
Yeah. Joe, I'm going to let it keep playing just because it's a very short video. And then on the third run, we'll pause it and talk about everything.
Sounds good.
A lot to say here.
So they did the other wall.
Yeah,
Instead of having the French doors up the entry. So there's off
from the great room to the office space now. Yeah. Which again, you could kind of open it up when you have guests over, just increase the size of that common space.
Well, shoot, Katie, you could turn that into a bonus room, right? So if you got younger kids or something like that, and hey, that's a playroom, activity room while the adults are out in the great room. So
totally. Yep. And with those glass doors, separate but together.
Yep. Gives a lot of flexibility that way.
I have to tell you, when they were picking the paint colors here in the showroom, I was skeptical, and I love it. It looks so good. This is a coast house too. So like on those foggy days,
oh yeah,
right.
It's got a nice pop to the exterior. I think I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah. Okay. All right. So now we're going to jump in and tell you everything. First thing, I'll pause right here. So these customers did what we call the turnkey site prep package, meaning Adair did their site prep and built their house. And Joe and I will get into more of the details on that towards the end of this, but we included that finished concrete and all the groundwork that you're seeing there. The customers were actually traveling. They had sold their home and they were kind of traveling around in their RV during the build. So they were popping in and out, but they weren't in a position where they wanted to be heavily involved in the process. I like to say too, as far as paint, we use Sherwin-Williams paint. We've got these pre-put together schemes, but if you have a vision, you can absolutely call it out. You're going to see here our standard features for exterior. So we've got the James Hardie siding all the way around. We've got a 50-year architectural shingle, lifetime Delta windows, and then you can make changes here. So if you're not loving the garage doors that are included on that impressions or whichever exterior package, you can pick others. So you can change your windows, you can change your doors, you could change your columns. I mean, there's a million ways to customize it to fit your vision. Got your propane tank off to the side there. I do like to pause and talk about the patio cover too, because we do all kinds of cool stuff now with patio covers, Joe. So we could do, that crow's foot, that kind of rough sawn look, or we could do a vaulted patio cover, or what else? So many things we can do outside.
Yeah, there's tons of options, when it comes to, we've done, the big gable vaults that match the interior vault line. I think what I appreciate the most is that we really give the opportunity to fit within somebody's budget window, right? So every client is different as far as based off the important aspects of their home. And that's why they're coming to us as professionals and entrusting us to be able to, hey, here's some options. Let's talk. Show us some visionary pictures. Oh, did you find a couple on our website? Perfect. There's a lot of Pinterest people out there, right? And so, bringing in your ideas for your design meeting and just to have a sit down and discussion really helps us to understand your budgets, your goals, what you're trying to achieve and accomplish. So then that way we can best serve you.
Agreed. Back on that turnkey note, so we, of course, we did this finished concrete at the back too. You could call out exactly what you want. So they could have said they want the concrete to come out 12 feet and go down the walls this way, or maybe they want it stamped or a stained finish. But when we're doing your site prep, you basically tell us anything that you want above and beyond what we would include in our standard approach. Okay, going inside. I'm going to pause and we're getting to this full great room rear wall. So they stayed standard here. They've got the 2 standard windows, which are big windows, and the standard sliding glass door. As Joe always says, we suggest getting those structural changes in there. So had your property had maybe just an amazing view out the back, and you wanted to use your budget, raising the ceiling, doing bigger windows, rotating the vault and doing a wall of windows, or maybe a 15-foot sliding glass door across the back. It's totally dependent on your priorities, property, and anything you're trying to take advantage of on that property. But there are so many options. What are your thoughts there, Joe?
Yeah, I think, you kind of nailed it, really. I mean, for me, I like to make sure that my clients do at least one structural option, either do the vaulted great room dining kitchen to, make it feel that much larger, or do a 9-foot plate height, which increases the height of your windows, your garage door, and your cabinets. So I think there's a lot of stuff built into a couple of those options. But like realistically, 8-foot ceilings in this house, I mean, I think it actually turned out pretty great. I mean,
Right.
obviously it's very open, so it gives you that feeling of the ceilings feel taller. I mean, it looks like they did upgraded flooring, and
Mhm.
having one flooring type throughout that whole area makes a huge difference. So there's no transitions between like a carpet and a luxury plank vinyl or something like that. I think a couple of those options are pretty key. But I mean, the drywall wrap windows, I mean, look beautiful. I think it actually gives more character without having all the full wrap, because I feel that takes away from the total look of the home. Some houses, it's great to have the full wrap, and some, I mean, looks great with the drywall wrap on there.
I agree. And to your point from there, so they do have an upgraded flooring. This is a luxury vinyl plank. We use Shaw flooring products. So luxury vinyl, laminate plank, engineered hardwood plank, carpets, kind of again, whatever best fits your needs. And then they've got their standard. So this is our standard colonial style trim package. As a standard, we're going to do the baseboards and the door wraps. And then like Joe said, you could choose to wrap your windows or just do a sill and apron, or leave them this clean, pretty drywall wrapped. They could have done French doors or atrium doors or a massive slider here, but it all turned out perfectly. They kind of pick and chose where they want to spend that money, and it turned out great. I really like what they did here. One cool thing, when you come into a full design appointment with us, you're going to get an itemized list. So you could literally throw out all the things you could potentially want. You'll get itemized pricing back for each of those changes, and then you pick and choose what stays, what goes, if anything needs to go. Design appointments are a lot of fun. We're going to stop in the kitchen. Standard kitchen here. So as a standard, Adair is going to do this Whirlpool microwave over the range. We're going to do the 30-inch range, and then you can't see it from this angle, but the dishwasher and the garbage disposal are also included. So the customer is only responsible for providing a refrigerator, which we're going to do the electrical and the water line to that fridge, and you're just going to plug and play. Had they wanted something else for appliances specifically, we can do Whirlpool or KitchenAid. So they could have done double ovens, built-in ovens, deleted the cabinets here and then a freestanding hood. Maybe they want one of the oversized fridges or a 48-inch range, and they want to provide their own appliances. We can accommodate that as well. All of the cabinets are made to order. What you'll see on our plans is kind of our suggested layout, but we want this to fit your needs. So if you're somebody who prefers a rectangular island, maybe no overhang, or maybe you want a shorter breakfast bar on this side, it's again, we would kind of guide you through the designing process, ask you about your intents for it, and then just make sure we're designing it appropriately.
Hey, Katie, did you have that floor plan from the website handy?
I think so.
So as you'll see, we made an adjustment. And I think what's really nice is we listen to our customers, and based off feedback that we've had on several of our floor plans, our design team has gone through and just kind of modified stuff that used to not be the case. So I love the new island layout. Having that rectangle there just kind of really opens everything up. Yeah, I just love how we're so adaptive to change, and we really just are proactive, right? So we make changes and adjustments based off customers' needs. So that's one thing that I do appreciate about what you're seeing right here on this house plan.
Absolutely. I agree. The big kind of rectangular flat islands have been really popular for the last couple of years. If you're somebody who prefers this, you have a little more separation of space between kitchen, dining, and great room. Absolutely, this is still an option.
Yeah, absolutely. We can still, and I think that's what's nice is, we can design and customize based off your needs, and based off how you feel your kitchen should be laid out. I've had people, down that hallway, there'd be a door, just to kind of separate that hallway off.
Yeah.
Just unique different things that you'll always find. You can get rid of certain wing walls. Say, for example, you didn't even want this den, dining space right there. None of those interior walls are load bearing over there. So you can have those walls deleted, and then it just makes that much more open space. So there's so much, kind of the sky's the limit. And on that note, Katie, if hopefully this is a good time to really discuss this, if you want to continue rolling the video, is we've got several different options. You can pick one of our Adair plans, right? And make modifications, customizations, things to think about, right? Oh, I want my cabinets to go all the way to the ceiling, or, the stone, instead of it being there, I want it to go all the way up the wall, or I just want tile, or whatever it may be. We can make customizations and modifications to our current plans. Okay. So they're not the say all be all. They're just starter packs with what most clients like based off feedback we've received. Then we can make customizations, modifications within that plan. Now, say, for example, you're like, oh man, listen, I spent $10,000, got these engineered plans, and I want this to the T. So we've got a custom design path. We would have to get written authorization and approval to be able to utilize those plans, which would then be Adairized. We would do a design team meeting with our custom team, where you would pay a cost for, and then we're able to literally build per scope what you're looking for. Okay. Which is awesome. So I think, having several different options is great. And a lot of people don't know we're like a full custom builder. There's so many things that we can do that people don't even think we can do, right? I mean, black interior and exterior windows, the huge vault in the great room dining kitchen running out the back with full glass on the back, more modern, style roof lines, adding full glass panels on the back. I mean, gosh darn, there's so many options that really the sky's the limit, which is exciting for our customers to be able to take advantage of.
Agreed.
You're very agreeable today.
I know. Well, everything you say is so smart. It's all I can say is agreed.
Hey, talk about fireplace there, though. I mean, that's a nice little propane fireplace, but we also have the option for doing wood burning, wood stoves, pellet stoves, freestanding, inserts, kind of whatever you're looking for. Could go in the corner. I mean, you name it, tons of options there.
Yeah. And I love that you can do kind of the rustic full wrap stone all the way to the ceiling, or you could do a super clean, modern drywall wrapped,
right?
Again, based on your style. I can't pass by the kitchen without talking about cabinets, because I love kitchen cabinets. So we partnered with Ridgecrest Cabinetry. They are, as I always like to remind people, an award-winning cabinet shop, and you can check out their work at their website. They've got some great pictures of what they've done. But sky's the limit, like we keep saying in this space. You can delete cabinets, do open shelves, convert everything to drawers. If you want your drawers to be shaker style fronts and match the cabinets, they've done a raised center panel here, which is really pretty. If you want painted, if you want to go to the ceiling, which I did in my house with Adair. So many options, and we're going to kind of run them by we're going to run all of them by you in the design process. And then same with countertops and backsplash. So they've done a granite here. Had they wanted to keep that same solid surface going up the wall 6 inches or even full height, they could have. We use Inzer tile for backsplash. So if they'd wanted another tile, we have 1,000 to choose from, so many. And then with the drawer pulls and knobs, this is the standard that's provided. Had they wanted to do something custom or something of their own, we've got a handful of options they can pick through us, or they can say, hey, just delete them. We're going to provide our own. Okay, there's that standard pantry. So if we don't do Joe's idea of kind of moving the fridge and doing that walk into the garage, you do have that full height cabinet space for storage. And then these bedrooms. So the primary suite got a nice big window. And then always in a primary suite, we're going to do 2 sinks if we have the space. So this is standard. Our standard now is a light over each sink rather than one in the center. And then you can choose to, if you want the same countertop in here, you can. If you want different, you can. Same with cabinets. So there's no rule saying if you pick a floor or a countertop or a backsplash, you have to carry it throughout the entire house. We use Moen for plumbing fixtures. Brush nickel is standard.
And that was a standard light package too, except now we have 2 light fixtures, one above each sink versus the single in the center there. But you got the brush nickel doorknobs, and you got the brush nickel there, brush nickel lights. I mean, this is kind of that standard half bath with the pedestal. We've seen people, do cabinets, a cabinet right there that'll match the kitchen. And kind of the rest of the home. Some people have said no mirrors, and then they've went ahead and brought their own mirror and installed that. So kind of we're here to help and support you as much as we can within the guardrails that we are within. So
nice big bedrooms there. Okay, all right. If we don't have any questions about the house, I say we get into the 6 steps. Are you okay with that?
Let's do it.
Let this play in the background. Okay, so
Yeah.
we're together a list of 6 simple steps to home ownership. We kind of try to break it down because, of course, from the outside looking in, it can seem a little daunting. So step 1, financing approval. And the idea here is just to have that talk with a loan officer, with Adair Financial, find out what you're qualified for, find out maybe what your comfort zone is for spending in order to stay within that monthly payment that you like to see. And then also explore options as far as 0% down or necessary down payment. And Joe, what are the other perks of just getting in touch with Adair Financial right off the bat?
I think usually after my first initial appointment, what I do is I include Ryan, our loan officer, which is phenomenal. He answers all your questions. They do a soft poll just to see where you're at credit wise, make sure that parameter wise you qualify for one of our programs. And then he'll go over next steps and issue that pre-approval. I think what's great is utilizing our own financing company helps a lot because we know how our draws work. We know how to get them paid during construction, right? And I think that's so valuable. Now, a lot of customers are like, oh my gosh, can I use my own lender? My buddy is a mortgage broker, right? Well, we've got a list of about 20 lenders that are approved lenders with Adair. Now, a couple things to keep in mind. If you go to like a mortgage broker or try to, what they're going to do is they're going to broker the loan with a company that we may partner with. So you're paying extra fees, extra costs for something that you don't need to. So a lot of people don't realize that, they may partner with Washington Federal, but you're going to pay a higher rate and higher fees and all that good stuff. So things to keep in mind, definitely utilize us as a resource. Start with Adair Financial Services and then go ahead and go around from that to discuss financing options if you're not happy with the rate, the term, whatever it may be. I have seen Ryan recently, somebody got a quote through another bank, and we were kind of like, well, hey, we want to earn your business. And, we've got a little bit of power to put together a package. So definitely utilize this as a resource for that.
Agreed. And there's so many perks to working with Adair Financial because it's in-house. So the communication is so strong every step of the way. We're keeping them in the loop. They're keeping us in the loop. And it just kind of it cuts out the middleman. It just simplifies conversation and communication. And also, and I said this yesterday in a virtual, and I don't know if I'm allowed to, but I'm doing it anyway. So Adair Financial, just knowing kind of the rates right now, they've been brainstorming on ways that they can help out customers. And so there's talks of a buy down option, which should be any day now. We're kind of expecting to see what they were able to come up with and what we can offer you to help you out, help you get more house for your money. So that's really exciting. Common misconceptions about construction loans. So construction loans are intended to buy the property, pay for the site prep, and pay for the house. A lot of times people come to us thinking that they need to pay for the property outright or pay for permits and all of that outright. And the idea is that you can roll all of that into this construction loan. There's zero down options for people that have equity in their land already, or even people who are going to get high appraisal back. So 0 down, 3% down, 5% down. There's so many options. From there, Joe, let's talk about finding land. So it's arguably the hardest part in the process. So what we've done, people always think that, or they like to think that Adair can sell them property or help them find property. Unfortunately, we cannot, but we have partnered with realtors in our area that we are confident in, that we know can properly advocate for you, can properly write a vacant ground offer, and just really kind of keep the process moving and again, be a strong team player with us in our program. Joe, what are your additional notes on realtor partners?
Yeah, one of the biggest things to consider is obviously there's tons of realtors out there, right? So find somebody that knows land, right? Because that's a whole different animal. It's not just a house that you're writing a contract on. There's due diligence periods. There's feasibility studies that need to potentially be done for septic and other things. There might need to be a well log test. There could be a buffet of things that might come up. And so if you have somebody in your corner that knows land in and out, which I have a couple here in Central Oregon, and I know you have a couple that you work with down there, it makes your buying experience that much more comforting. Plus, we haven't gotten to the site visit yet, but by golly, we have some of the best superintendents around. And I'm not just saying that because I work here, but Sean Story out of here, Central Oregon, he's been around for 35 years. He's knows his business in and out, knows everybody in the community, and he's phenomenal at meeting customers on site, walking, discussing home placement, talking about how to capture views. I'm so passionate about the site visit because a lot of other companies, they'll just send their salespeople out to do the site visit. We're not like that. We want our professionals out with boots on the ground with you, walking the site with some of our preferred partners, our excavation partners, to really give you that budget to really help you out. Hey, is this even feasible? Or do we need to pull out of this property, right? We're not saying the first time you put in an offer on a property, like you're dialed, you're good to go. It may take a couple offers on different properties, right? Say, for example, I know in my area, if you've got 2 or 3 properties you're considering, my superintendent will go to all 3 properties in one day with you and say, my recommendation is this property. It's going to be the least amount of site development. And you already have gone over a bunch of the roadblocks with the other properties. And then, you bring your realtor in just to kind of seal up the deal and the contract there. So.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a perfect segue. And regarding realtors, just a quick step back. If you get online and you get in touch with your local branch, every single branch has realtor partners, and they're just the tried and true, strong customer feedback. We'll connect you with them immediately. But Joe, I love what you're saying about site evaluations. It is such a resource to you. It's such an amazing thing that Adair offers. But the idea is typical program that you are under contract on this property before we come see it. So So your realtor is going to write their offer with what we would call either feasibility or a due diligence or a refundable earnest money period. And then you would call your Adair salesperson, Joe or myself, and say, hey, you know what, we found the property, we're under contract, let's do this. And then we're all just going to hit the ground running to best utilize that refundable earnest money period. So we're doing one right now at the Crestwell branch that our site superintendent went out. He met with the team, and it's a complicated property. It's an amazing property, amazing views, large property, but it's going to require some flood certifications. It's going to require some flood delineation. And so we want to present that to the customer. Like, hey, are you up for this? Are you comfortable with this? And then within that refundable earnest money period, have these customers said, you know what, we bit off more than we can chew. We don't want to deal with all this. They get their earnest money back, they go to the next property. So it's kind of that you aren't an expert on land. Usually you haven't built before. So it's a perfect time for you to take advantage of our resources, our excavators, find out everything you can find out about this property before you're locked into it and before you've lost money. All right. Let's talk site budget building.
Yeah, I mean, I think something really important about site budget and understanding your budget is Adair already builds in their contract a 6% budget for any sort of overruns and things like that associated with the home. Okay, which is nice. It's a peace of mind. Then you also have contingency for site development. Okay, now we are not here to tell you it's all roses and pretty and everything beautiful. I've built, and so is Katie. There are challenges along the way. There are unexpected things that come up, and that's part of building. And the reason why I say that is we are transparent. Okay. So, hey, we get a bid for excavation. Always make sure your bid includes rock hammering. You know what? Your lot may not need it. Katie's area may not need rock hammering, but over here in Central Oregon, I always have them put it in there as if we're going to need 10 days on it. Might as well plan for 10 days and it takes 5. Or you know, because if you plan for 0 and then you have to pay for 5, then you're paying 10,000-15,000 bucks, and that's an unexpected cost, right? So working with a lot of our partners that we have in our branches, they know some of those issues, right, that might potentially arise and how to mitigate them to help you understand your budget the best way possible, right? Now, most of the time, we're going to know the budget on permits and utility trenching and like steps, decks, driveways, patios, stuff like that. What I love is Adair's taking a lot of that stuff away, so you don't have to have the headache of it. So we do the interior and exterior painting. I know Katie mentioned that earlier. We do the site cleanup, which was one of the most adventurous parts of construction, least enjoyable, which now Adair takes that over, right? So you're going to have a beautiful, clean job site all the way through, beautiful final clean on your home before you move in. And you know, just expect, you know, there's going to be delays along the way. Right. You know, we're just in an environment as we pick up more and more trades and more business, you know, sometimes a granite gets discontinued, you know, things like that may happen. But the good thing is that you have people like Katie and myself on your side to help you navigate through any of those kinds of things, you know, situations. And we've got a phenomenal team, you know, Morgan, you know, with our design. She's great. She'll give us a quick different option. I had a tile that was a little bit back ordered and no problem. Actually, the tile that we have now is better looking than the one that was originally selected. You know what I mean? So I think we're just really proactive, super supportive through the process, and we will help you navigate through any of the challenges. Now, I've had some customers that sails through and, you know, nothing crazy happens, right? So just know that we're here to help and support.
Yeah, that's perfect. And I wanted to show this example, which I've never shown this in a virtual before, but regarding building that site budget out. So while you're under contract on that property, while you're in that refundable earnest money period, this is an example of what we're going to help you put together. And I say help you because we can send our contractors out to that site visit and complete this entire budget for you. So we're going to go out to that site. We're going to say, here's what is required in order to make this land buildable. This is a complicated property. So if you're seeing this 133,000 and panicking, this is not the norm, but you can also say, hey, my brother-in-law is an excavator. You know, I've got my own people I want to call in and build this budget. And in that case, we give you this list with highlighted cells. Okay, here's the numbers you need, but you could absolutely choose to use your own contractors during site. And then like Joe said, that contingency for site prep. So I use mine in my project. Unexpectedly found arsenic in our well. So we spent $10,000 on a filtration system. So this is a nice, hopefully you don't need it, but if you do, it's there. But step 4, like Joe's already hinting at, the design appointment, or are we at step 5 now? Sorry. So at this point in the game, you know your land cost, you know your site prep costs, you now know exactly what you have left in the budget or what you want to spend on the house. So that is when we call you in and we do a full design appointment, and we're going through the cabinets. Like, do you need pull-out cutting boards? Do you need electrical outlets over here? Do you need them in the cabinet? Do you need another sink? So it's more of a, how do you intend to use this space? How can we customize it to better fit your needs? And that's where we're putting in all those custom options and getting that fully itemized quote back, which we then present to you, and you go through and decide what stays and what goes and just perfect the quote. From there, just segueing straight over. So we do what we call, and this isn't an official step, but it's an official part of the process. So after you've perfected that quote, we order concepts. So basically we're going to say, so say you took the Josephine plan and you added a wall, or you raised the ceilings, or you added some square footage. We're going to submit that to drafting and get back your concept. So they're going to take the Josephine, incorporate all the changes you made, and then you'll get a chance to see it in black and white and decide if, hey, like this is perfect, or you know what, I don't like how this turned out. Let's reconstruct again, or change things around again. But it's no longer the Josephine, it's now the Zamco or the Smith. So it's a nice time before you're locked in, before you're ordering it, to see your changes and effects. But once you've perfected those concepts, you've made any changes you see fit or necessary after reviewing, you've perfected your quote, you can now order. You sign contracts, you order the house. Joe, let's talk price increase. I like talking the new price increase. I think it's important. Nobody likes to talk about it or think about it, but it's important to know and plan for. And you hinted at it earlier. So that 6%, go ahead. Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, I noticed that. My computer is yelling at me. With that 6%, what's really nice is with all the hikes in lumber and the variable when it comes to cost of materials and things of that nature, we took it upon ourselves to be more proactive than having people just sign a document that says, hey, if lumber goes up, we'll let you know. And then you're stuck with a $30,000 price increase and you don't have the funds for it, right? So we proactively put in a 6% contingency that we won't go past, okay? So once that foundation is poured, we will have a recap, okay? So say, for example, you know what? It's $25,000 contingency. Just making that up as a round number. We needed $9,860.12. The remainder of that would get reimbursed back to you via the change order, which, depending if you're a cash customer or a finance customer, that would come off your final draw. And what I appreciate about that is it's upfront. We have a document that is created by Adair that shows you, hey, here's what it was when we ordered the materials. Here's what it is now. Here's the difference. That's what we're going to be taking out of that line item. So I think what I appreciate about that is just the transparency and being upfront that there are costs out there, right? Nothing's free, as anybody knows. To be clear with people, I've seen other contracts out there that are like, hey, there's a lumber escalation clause, right? And it's like, well, that's scary to sign that because who knows what lumber is going to be, right? And 99% of the time, if that goes up, it's going to be substantial. And so I think adjusting the contract to where it's favorable for customers, it's upfront, lets them know we're setting that money aside. You're including it in your financing. If it doesn't get used, or if a portion of it get used, but that's the cap, right? That's the most that you'll get charged, which I like that. And instead of having a price protection date deadline, like a drop dead 120 days, you need to have your lot ready. If it's not, you get a price increase. So it gives some more wiggle room, because in other jurisdictions and other spots, it may take 5 months to get lot ready. Well, you may have not accounted or planned for that additional money for a price increase. So we've already kind of baked that in for you. So
I agree. I think it's so important too, because I think, you know, over the last couple of years with all the craziness and the material spike, like you were saying, I think we all heard horror stories from builders that sign the house at 100,000. By the time you're ready to build it, it's now 200,000. It's a terrible example, but builders have to protect themselves, and I understand that, but you have to protect yourself as well. You don't want to get in over your skis in this before you even start. So the idea of that 6% is that we won't exceed it. If our costs go more than that, we'll eat it, we'll absorb it. That's just a cost of doing business. But if we don't use it, it's there for you, you recap it. So it's kind of that safety net for both us and you. I think it's an amazing change that Adair's put into effect. That is it, Joe. That's it. We're at the end of the show. There's no questions needed.
no questions, no worries. I mean, Katie and I do tons of these. We're going to be doing more and more as more homes get completed. I know I've got 1560 Winchester coming up, which is going to be nice. I love the Winchester plan. This is a beautiful plan as well. We've got a lot of different homes, a couple custom ones coming due soon. So really excited to be able to continue to share, you know, really the value in what we do and how we operate. And I'm glad everybody joined today. Tell your friends. We love to help you and your friends, of course. Great time. I really want to do one on like the Pines or something like that, or like the investment houses, because like right now I've had so many people inquire on that, like but like, and plus our brand new Magnolia plan, like, hey guys, like a lot of the city lots have been approved for additional dwelling units, and we just launched this Magnolia plan, which is stinking adorable and really nice. And yeah, I mean, I just love it. So tons of options, tons of great things. We continue to hear our customers, listen to feedback, and adapt to it. We're going to have a 593 square footer too. That bad boy is going to be launching here shortly. So keep your eye on this as we continue to evolve. There's a lot of people that are going to smaller living quarters, things like that. You know, so it's super exciting. So
here I live in a college town, and this was such a hit at the home show last weekend because it's such a great investment opportunity.
Absolutely.
They're allowed in almost every city lot here, so why not that extra?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, Joe. Well, I'm excited for the Winchester. I can't wait for that one.
Yes. Well, thank you everyone for your time. Really appreciate it. Again, Joe Zamko from the Central Oregon branch, and my lovely partner, Katie.
Katie Smith from Cresswell.
All right, guys. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.